thieves far more dangerous than your old Raven. 2 days ago, a precious ruby was stolen from the British Museum. There was an explosion. A guard was severely injured.
Really?
Yeah. And you know what the papers say?
You talk too much, Constable.
Zellner, monsieur. Anton Jakob Zellner.
Or did he pull a gun on you?
No, monsieur.
Get a move on.
Inspector Legrand, it's a great honor to work with a celebrity like you.
We appreciate the support of the Swiss police, but it'd be better if you'd remain seated and keep an eye on things.
But monsieur, your journey on this train is most unusual. Is it related to the burglary at the British Museum?
Not in the least.
And the safe? What's that for?
I'll let you know if we need your help, Constable. If you'll excuse me, I'll be in the first freight car at the back of the train for the rest of the trip.
I'm not here to enjoy the beautiful scenery. I am a good observer, and I have finally honed powers of deduction.
Thanks to that?
I watched the people on the platform in Zurich. I know, for example, that man over there is a violinist.
That would be more impressive if there weren't a violin case next to him.
And I believe that the gentleman in the next carriage is a German doctor on his way to Italy to take up a new position.
And what gives you that idea?
There's the rod of Asclepius engraved on his cufflink. And he's carrying a German-Italian dictionary.
Maybe he's just taking a holiday in Italy, following in Goethe's footsteps.
Too much luggage. And no, he's not retiring to Italy either. The suitcases are too shabby for me to believe that he can afford to retire in his late 50s.
All right then, Constable...
Zellner.
Constable Zellner. If you're such a clever fellow, what am I doing on this train?
I think you're looking for someone.
You're just guessing. If I were looking for someone, I wouldn't spend the trip cooped up in a freight car, now would I?
Well, that would seem to indicate that you're guarding something.
And what might it be?
We're in Switzerland. The safe was loaded aboard. Perhaps it's full of money.
Oh, come now. You really think that I of all people, would be minding a pile of money? And in Switzerland, of all places? No. So what is it that I'm guarding?
Could it possibly be a jewel that's making a long and perilous journey?
You're guessing. You can't possibly know what's inside the safe.
But if that were the case...
Then I'd ask you why the train wasn't crawling with police.
It's a trap.
You've got a vivid imagination. I'll give you that. Your deductive powers leave much to be desired. I think we'll get along fine without you.
You won't.
Won't? Pardonnez-moi.
I can help. And I will help. You're in my country, and I've been ordered to assist you. And that's exactly what I'll do, whether you like it or not.
Not so bright, but stubborn. Your commitment speaks volumes, Zellner. But this is my show, and...
But how do you know? Oh, hello.
You cheated.
I did what?
I saw you talking to the German doctor on the platform. He told you everything himself, and you were just pretending to put two and two together.
And what of it? Do you know who that is? That's Inspector Nicholas Legrand. You have to impress him if you want to work with him.
I'm going to tell on you.
You'd really tell on me? To the very policeman who shot your dear Raven?
Whoa! It was him?
Mm-hmm. Hunted and killed Europe's most famous burglar. That's how he got his start.
I won't tell him a thing.
I wouldn't either. All right, Matthew. I have to do my work now.
Everyone calls me Matt. Well, except for my mom. She calls me Maddie, as if I were a little kid.
Whether the Grand wants my help or not, I'll keep my eyes open. Maybe I can change his mind. This morning I thought I wouldn't be hungry because of all the excitement. Thankfully, I bought a sandwich with me anyway. wrap the apple core in the sandwich paper. That way I can carry it without making a mess of my trouser pocket. Still, I'd prefer not to have to carry them all day. napkin came with the croissant I bought at the train station. A guilty pleasure. I don't need that either. Every table has its own wastebasket. Practical. No need to ever leave your seat. Every table has its own wastebasket. Practical. No need to ever leave your seat. Every table has its own waste. Every table has its own waste basket. Practical. No need to ever leave your seat. Every table has its own waste basket. Practical. No need to ever leave your seat. Every table has its own waste basket. Table has its own waste basket. Practical. No need. Every table has its own waste basket. Practical. No need to ever leave your seat. All right. The violinist is a good-looking fellow, and he's traveling through the most beautiful mountain landscape in the world. One can only hope that his violin is better tuned than he. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Are you traveling to Istanbul non-stop?
No. I'll transfer in Venice to a ship. I'm on my way to Cairo.
Cairo?
I'm performing at the reception in the Egyptian Museum there.
I'm sure your recital will be a great success. But tell me, did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Anything unusual?
Persons acting suspiciously, for instance.
For heaven's sake, is there cause for concern?
Everything is in order, sir. We Swiss are just very cautious people.
I understand. No, I didn't notice anything.
Have a good trip.
Thank you.
Professor? Are you a scientist? Do you teach at the Sorbonne?
No, I work at the British Museum in London.
You don't say. So, you were, shall we say, an eyewitness to the burglary 2 days ago?
No, I wouldn't say that.
Oh, no?
There was a lot of commotion, but I didn't really pay much attention.
In your museum, and it didn't concern you?
Well, let's just say that nothing that's happened in the last concerns me.
Whatever you say. The famous Inspector Legrand is on this.
I don't know what you're trying to imply. And now, please excuse me.
Just one more thing. Did you notice anything unusual on the train?
Here? On the train? No. I can't say that I have. Although I did spend most of the time in my compartment.
May I ask where you are going?
Of course. To Venice. I'm going to meet some colleagues there.
Oh, Venice. A beautiful city, so I'm told.
Indeed. But I really have to take my leave now.
I don't want to take up any more of your valuable time, but you do understand, don't you, that what concerns me is the present, and especially the robbery at the museum.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's just... I'm in rather a hurry.
You'll get in touch if you notice anything unusual, won't you, Professor?
Of course, Constable. What's this?
What's the matter, sir?
The door. I can't open it.
Ah, we'll sort it out somehow. The compartment is locked.
But I didn't lock it. I don't even have a key. I asked the steward. He was going to bring me one, but he never came back.
Someone locked it.
Find the steward. He needs to bring me the key immediately to get back in my compartment.
All right, just wait here. He doesn't make a very balanced impression. And he, of all people, isn't bothered by a robbery in his own museum. You can easily lock the compartment door from inside by turning a little knob.
But I didn't lock it.
Professor, if you had locked the door from in there, you wouldn't be out here.
That's true.
Perhaps a thoughtful conductor noticed that Professor Lucien wasn't in his compartment and locked it. He doesn't make a very balanced impression, and he of all people isn't bothered by a robbery in his own museum. The door is without a key or a proper tool. I don't believe that... It's no use. The bolt is too short to get a good grip on it. I don't believe it. I never thought I'd ever meet you.
Pardon me, but we'd prefer...
It's all... I'd like to speak to the inspector.
Unfortunately, just a constable, Lady Westmacott. I'm reading The Vicarage in the Mirror right now, for the 5th time at least.
That's nice, Constable...
Zellner. Anton Jakob Zellner.
This is my companion, Miss Miller.
A pleasure. As a writer, you must be very observant, am I right? I mean, you have to study the behavior of people around you to create the characters in your novels, don't you?
I solved the mystery of human nature a long time ago, Mr. Zellner. Since then, most people just bore me.
Really? I had the impression you were eyeing me suspiciously as I came in.
What do you want to know, Constable?
What are you doing here, if I may ask? Are you on holiday?
Holiday? Yes, so to speak. The first and last holiday of my life.
Madam?
I've been writing since I was a little girl. It became my job, and now I've stopped. So, this must be a holiday.
You quit writing? Impossible. Books. Your detective partout is my...
I'm doing it again as an old woman.
I see. About the other passengers, did you notice the man who just walked into the next carriage with a cup of tea?
I did. He seemed nervous. He was waiting at the bar for the steward, and since the steward never appeared, he elected to help himself. He took 2 biscuits.
He seems pretty young, but he's already a professor at the British Museum.
Interesting. I'll have to talk to him later. Just out of courtesy, of course.
Of course. Did you notice the blonde man with the violin case?
I certainly did. He introduced himself and tried to make a good impression. People like him are drawn to wealth and fame, like moths to a flame.
But his charms failed on you.
I know him by name. David Kreutzer. He was a drain on my friend's purse.
Do you think he has a money problem?
People like him always have a money problem. No matter how much you give them, they always spend twice as much and complain that they have far too little.
Did you notice anyone else? What about the doctor?
I notice that you've asked me about everyone, except for the inspector who went in the direction of the freight car a few minutes ago. Isn't that the Frenchman who made his name when he caught the raven?
I wouldn't quite say caught.
Well, shot. Why don't you ask me about him and my theory about what he's doing here?
I don't think we should discuss Inspector Legrand's investigation in public.
Legrand, right. That was his name. Will he save the day again? Or will you, Constable?
As much as I'd like to keep talking, duty calls.
You were right.
Madam?
I did observe you as you came in. You seemed so... eager.
It's been a long time since I've had a chance to prove myself, madam.
And this is it? Your chance?
I do hope so.
Then grab. All people can make big changes. as my friend Ronald likes to say.
I shall do my best. Butterscotch. I've loved them since I was a child. Their only drawback, they don't play nice with false teeth. Butterscotch. I've loved them since I was a child. Their only drawback, they don't play nice with false teeth.
Ah, Mr. Right. How can I help you?
Tell me, did you notice anything suspicious here on the train or in Zurich?
You mean, except for the fact that my suitcase was stolen on the platform? No. Is there any reason to be concerned?
No, just routine.
Constable Zellner, please don't think I'm naive. I spotted the inspector from Interpol. Legarde is his name, if I recall correctly.
Legrand.
If you say so. At the train station in Zurich, he put a cash box into the safe, and then kept close watch as it was loaded onto the train. Don't tell me that a man at his pay grade routinely tramps across the Alps just to keep an eye on cash boxes.
A cash box? Like the ones you'd find in safe deposit boxes?
Precisely. And I believe we both have a good idea just what's inside.
I do indeed have a theory, but what's yours?
A ruby was stolen in London. One of the legendary Eyes of the Sphinx. The second jewel, an emerald, is rumored to be in a Swiss bank vault, if I remember correctly. Both jewels were supposed to be exhibited together in Cairo for the first time in 50 years. It does make one wonder.
Indeed. There's something else. Do you know where the conductor is?
I'd like to know that myself. I told him to search for my missing suitcase in Zurich. He hasn't got back to me yet. He's probably in cahoots with the thieves, and didn't bother getting back on the train. If we don't crack down on vermin like them, the rabble will rule the world one day.
Well, at the moment, we still don't know what really happened.
He is not here doing his job. That's bad enough.
Any news about the robbery in London?
Quite something, wasn't it? It must have been professionals. The way they disabled one of the best security systems in the world. Most impressive.
People were injured.
Well, one cannot execute a robbery of that scale without collateral damage. It seems like the Raven has finally found a worthy successor. We can look forward to new and spectacular coups.
I'm afraid I won't enjoy his exploits this time around if the new Raven is so reckless.
That's your prerogative.
May I borrow your newspaper?
You can take the section with the article on the burglary. You're interested in that bit, aren't you?
You got me out.
Here you go.
Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen, Dr. Gebhardt.
Goodbye, Constable. It was a pleasant chat, really.
If I may introduce Constable Robert Oliver from the Yard. And this is the revered Constable Zellner of the Swiss police, who obviously couldn't control his curiosity.
I hope you'll acknowledge that I, as a Swiss, on the train, as long as you're here in the freight car.
Oh, really?
Then I was right. You really do want to lure someone into a trap.
That's none of your business.
Perhaps. that someone recently struck in London.
And how would I bait my trap then?